one other question that I wanted to make sure we get on this show, this episode, whatever we want to call it, and that is around the ads on the jerseys. So for those that maybe haven't kept up to speed with hockey news recently, it was confirmed from the NHL as well. So this is unlike when we were talking about Marc-Andre's Twitter. This isn't just isn't rumor. This is true. They've confirmed that from 2022-2023 season that the jerseys will have advertising on them. Now, they haven't specified, unless they have recently, but I haven't seen them specify the amount, the size, any of those kind of things. But this is something very close to my heart because, I've obviously grew up watching British hockey and European hockey because it was a lot harder to watch NHL back in those days without giving my age away. But potentially Twitch wasn't around back when I was a kid, so it was a little hard to watch it. So I've seen what happens to jerseys when this goes awry. So I get that there's people that are saying, look, I'm not being funny, advertising's already in sport. That's why we have to break every 2 seconds. And they say this power play is sponsored by some energy bar or whatever. Like, I get all that. But it's very different when it's on the jersey. And like we've seen in other sports, and obviously football is probably, as in soccer, is one of the best examples to use. Once you open Pandora's box, there's no shutting it. So, the league's decision, I hope, and they said it was unanimous in terms of the votes, but they asked the owners, of course they're going to vote unanimously. But for me, this is a really, would you like some more revenue, guys? Oh, and by the way, this is the way you're all remunerated. And they go, oh, yeah, definitely. That's not a shock. But unlike that, we saw it with the helmets this season. Now, I personally didn't mind the helmets, but when they started doing that, I thought, you guys are testing the water. You're testing the water to see how bad the reaction is from the fans. But I'd love to. I can rant all day about this, and I will do after I let you finish. But what's your thoughts, JP, in terms of adverts on jerseys?
Yeah, I get that the timing makes total sense, right? That we've just come through the pandemic. The NHL lost gargantuan amounts of revenue, and so did the teams. So it was clear that they're looking to add revenue streams and try to make up for some of those losses. Like all those new uniforms last season, that wasn't an accident. Every team didn't get a reverse retro. Every team in the league didn't issue a reverse retro jersey just by chance. That's all about selling jerseys. And, in Vegas's case, 2 new jerseys, right? Vegas got the reverse retro as well as the gold alternate.
Yep.
So yeah, the timing doesn't surprise me. And ads on jerseys, right? That's a huge revenue stream for every team for the NHL. I don't know what the revenue split ends up being on that. I'm sure the NHL maybe takes a cut, but so the timing makes total sense in terms of how I feel about it and how a lot of fans in the US feel about it. We're just not used to that here. So the only sport where I think ads on jerseys is super common, or the only one of the sort of big 5 sports in the U.S. is soccer or football, as you'd say in the UK, and that's common practice, right? But in the MLS, they're still just doing kind of the traditional, just one big sponsor on the front of the jersey, and so that wasn't hard for people to accept because soccer fans are already used to that, but. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you would know more than me, but I've seen what it looks like in the European leagues, right? And they're just like skating billboards on ice. Yeah. So that's where it ends up. The uniforms end up looking pretty tacky and gaudy, but I get it. A lot of the European leagues, they're not turning the kind of profit that the NHL is. And so I do understand that need to kind of bring it in wherever you can. With the NHL, you could argue they'd probably be fine without it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like you said, you ask the owners, hey, you guys want to make more money?
Right. And they've just, like, in terms of revenue, they've just done a new TV deal as well. I mean, I can't remember when that kicks in this year or next year, but
this year, yeah.
Like the league wasn't struggling, and I know that there's lots and lots of mechanics at play here, and I get it. there's certain decisions that maybe from a morality perspective I don't like, and this is coming from obviously Bettman's, he's in charge, it's his decision at the end of the day, and this is a guy who in 2015 said that it would, they'd have to take him kicking and screaming to do it, and then 6 years, no, he may say, we haven't got him on the show, but it's a shame, and I'm sure if he hears this, he's going to think, well, I'm never going to go on anyway, but right. And I know the pandemic changed a lot of things. But for that year, we're going to have fans back in the stadiums this year. Like you said, they're releasing 23 apparently new jerseys this year. So 23 of the 32 teams are having new jerseys. Now, yes, 2 of those 23 are the Seattle ones, which I will be ordering on day one. But the other 21 are alternates, which, like you said, they're purely revenue generators. Another thing that we've seen in other sports where they change it. Now, I've seen the way the NBA does the sponsorship, and it is subtle, because that was one of the arguments we had back on our Discord channel. Was I get what you're saying, Ian, about the European leagues, but actually, if you look at the NBA, there is a way of doing it where it doesn't completely ruin the jersey. It's just kind of quiet and on the kind of like the chest kind of area, but. Being devil's advocate, which I like to be, then I would say that's fine, but let's have that chat in 5 years' time when there's 3 of them rather than the one here. Because it always, these guys are businessmen, and we've talked about it quite a few times within this show. Hockey is a business. The NHL is a business. Vegas Golden Knights is a business. So they're going to want to make more revenue tomorrow than they're making today, because everything is year-on-year growth. Everything is comparables, and that's what one of the things that Vegas has done fantastically well. And I don't want to pump Vegas's tires too much, but there is no denying that one of the reasons they've got such an engaged fan base is because they made being at hockey an experience. And that's one thing that has never really transferred over to British hockey. We still don't create the right atmosphere within the grounds that just makes it an experience to watch a sport rather than just being about what's on the ice or on the field or on the wherever. But it's a business, and that means that when they get used to the revenue they're going to get from whatever they start with, they're going to want more and more and more and more. We've seen it with the ads on around the ice and everything. So yeah.
It's definitely just the beginning. You're right. Pandora's box is a proper description. That's this, because, like you said, last year with the helmets, and they did, I believe I did read in an article, they did say what they're going to be this year. It's the ads on jerseys. My understanding is it's like a 2 to 3 inch patch.
Yeah.
So something, like you said, something small and subtle, but I completely agree with you. It's just the beginning. In fact, I posted on Twitter about this before they announced it, just speculatively, because there had been talk of it. I posted some pictures of European jerseys and some of the most ridiculous cases, and said, this might be where we're headed, and of course, the reaction from the U.S. fan base, just because the jerseys look so clean, right, and slick with no ads on them. Everybody was putting the little vomit emojis, and But they're right. But you're right. Because I think it's coming.
Exactly. And the difference between the jerseys in Europe and the UK, and there's some fantastic. If you took the ads off, there's some fantastic color schemes and jerseys and logos and really innovative things, because they've tried to be different and. Depending on the age of the league and stuff. And there's some fantastic coloured jerseys, certainly in the SHL as well, the Swedish Hockey League. But you can't see it because of all the ads. And the difference with the NHL is these jerseys are nostalgic. The reason why they're doing retro reverse, and the reason why they were as successful as they were, is because these jerseys mean something to people. People collect NHL hockey jerseys. Sad people like myself have them hung behind them. That's not getting hung behind me if on the back of it says Ford Motor Cars. That's I just think it's different. And even if you're on, if you're listening to this live or on YouTube or wherever, and you're thinking, Ian, you're talking crap, then that's fine. But let's see where we are in 5 years' time, and and how how far Pandora's boxes we've gone into, because
I'm gonna bet on more ads. It's not gonna stop there. I think you're totally right about that. It's just the beginning of that downhill slide, if you want to call it that.
Exactly.